Hi, I'm Michael Ota. I'm an LBA BCBA for Raising the Ground. I'm here to talk to you about how to put on a mask in order to be more safe out in the community, or if you're a caregiver, putting on a mask, especially for a child or even for an adult with autism. A lot of the information I'm going to be giving you today is from a book called the Behavior Analysis for Lasting Change. I'll talk a little bit more about this book at the end. But the areas that I'll be looking at are behavior chaining or task analysis. And today, especially, I'll be looking at what we call behavior shaping in order to help wear that mask, especially when it's not a comfortable thing to do, or it becomes irritable after a while. So the first thing that you should do is definitely start with the type of mask. There are cloth masks, there are sort of the paper masks that you can hopefully find. They also have this metal bar at the top to shape around your nose to make it more safe. But it's very important to explore those for yourself. But if you're a caregiver, to include the person in that exploration of what type of mask is going to be most comfortable. That's the number one thing, and especially in every step that we're doing, to make sure that you're including the individual in the process so they feel empowered and also feel that this is not just being put on them, that they are a part of that choice making. The main part of behavior shaping is incremental steps. You want to do things in as finite steps as you possibly can. It doesn't mean that the individual or yourself is going to go through all those finite steps step by step, but it allows you that process. So for instance, if you're going to be putting on a mask for yourself or for a caregiver, you might, or you're a caregiver, you might have somebody put the mask on so you can watch them do it. So for instance, if I have this type of mask, I'm going to be putting it around the top of my face and looping the loops around the back of my ears. Then I also need to bend the metal so that it's contoured to my face and keeping out a lot of the elements of the air out from where I'm breathing in. Now, the biggest part of this is also proper wearing. So a lot of people like to do this, which defeats the purpose of the mask because you're bringing in air through your nose as well. Or they'll bring it all the way down to their chin, which can stretch these areas of the mask. So not only the proper steps to wearing the mask, but also in the proper ways not to, or the improper ways to wear the mask. So again, the first step is make sure that you do put the mask on yourself or watch somebody put the masks on, and write down every single step that they do. And write them down as in such detailed steps that anyone that came to Earth and could read English or whatever language you're writing in, and would be able to follow along and put that mask on without your explicit help. Once you are comfortable with putting the mask on and putting it on in those steps, the next part of that process of behavior shaping is the amount of time that you're putting on the mask. And I know for my own son that can be a challenge. What he'll do is put the mask on, and he'll wait to see when he's uncomfortable. If that's 30 seconds, then he'll take it off, he'll put it down here, or he'll just take it off and lie it aside. That's what we call a baseline. Once we know, you might want to try it 2 or 3 times and see what's the longest, sort of like, those competitions we did as kids and seeing how long you could hold your breath underwater in the pool. just see how long you can do it for before it just drives you crazy. And then write that data down, put those times down, and then see what that baseline is. Let's say, for instance, you can wear it for 1.5 minutes before it becomes very irritable. What you can do to help yourself become more and more comfortable is increase that time by very small increments. 10 seconds, 15 seconds, maybe even 30 seconds. It depends on you and the person who you're caring for, how long they can last with increasing increments. But the point is that you're trying to increase the amount of time of tolerance for having that mask on. And it might be you're starting off at 1 minute and going in 15 seconds or 10-second increments and improving on that. And that's okay. If you have to wear a mask at a job for 5 hours, you know that your tolerance is 1 minute, and you're going to work up to as close to 5 hours as you possibly can. But anywhere you start is okay. That's where you're going to start. The second thing, and this goes for both putting on the mask and having the mask stay on, is the process of connecting a reward to completion of those steps. So this really has to do with behavior chaining. When you have to put a mask on and you put it on for 1 minute and you last 1 minute and 10 seconds, what you need to do is set up a reward for yourself, or if you're a caregiver, a reward for that person. It doesn't need to be pie in the sky, but it can be small things like an extra 10 minutes of video gaming or YouTube watching. Anything that connects that behavior or task that isn't something desirable to something that is really wanted, highly preferred. And what that'll do is that'll help with making sure that we have that connection between completing something that you don't really want to do with something that you really want to do, the old if-then. And in the long run, what that's going to do is help you become more and more willing to keep that mask on longer and longer. So for instance, if you're able to keep a mask on for 5 minutes and you need to be wearing that for an hour at a time before you can take a break at your job, then start with those 5 minutes and add 1 minute each time. For every minute that you add, then you get an extra amount of time, I'd say 15 minutes extra time of video game playing. Then the next time that you put the mask on and you put it on for 7 minutes, that's when you're going to earn your extra 15 minutes. So that's an important point I want to reiterate. You don't get the extra 15 minutes for every minute that you add on. You get that extra 15 minutes of video game playing time for the added on minute. So you start off at 5 minutes, you go to 6, you get a reward. The next time you go to 7, you get the reward. If you don't go to 7, that's okay, but there's no reward. So we don't want to reward not meeting that goal. There are times when you'll put that mask on, or the person you're caring for, and after 5 minutes or so, they can't do any more. It is best not to give a reward or prorate the reward so that they have something, because what we're trying to encourage is the increased increments, not meeting an old goal that they've mastered. So a lot of these principles come from this book of Behavior Analysis for Lasting Change. It is available on Amazon, and I highly recommend it, especially even for behavior analysts, because even though the book has a lot of technical language that, I'll be honest, sometimes I have a hard time reading through, it is in every section, and every behavioral principle that we use in our field has very solid, real world, relatable examples and information about why that works, how it applies, and how you can adjust it so that it meets the individual's needs. So I recommend picking up a book like that so that you can look at some of the different principles as you encounter other challenges in life, that you can flip through the book and see, hey, is there a way that we can tackle this issue, see if we can get better functionality. Again, thank you for listening. I hope that you all stay safe and healthy, and remember, it's about comprehension, not consequence. So as long as yourself understands why something needs to happen, you're going to be more willing to try a test that you really aren't preferring. Thank you.